and welcome back to my channel. I am Christy Van with Vantastic Finances, and on this channel I teach velocity banking. So today we are dealing with a pretty serious situation because we have a person that is in a negative cash flow, quite a bit a negative at $155. So we had to try to figure out how are we going to rearrange her debt just enough that her income is going in, knocking off some of the interest, helping her pay off some of the debt, while she is gaining a positive cash flow. So how are we going to do that in this situation? She has two credit cards that are completely maxed out. There's no room in there for any expenses. So how do we make those expenses fit into a credit card when they're maxed out? So if you see, she has credit card number one at $11,871 with a $229 payment, and credit card number two with a $15,000 balance at $351 a month. Not to mention the car loan that she has at $15,395 with a $514 payment a month. Now the expenses you see up here at $9160, that includes her mortgage, that includes all of their living expenses. So they just have a lot of debt that I've not included on this board, but we are going to show how with her car loan and her credit cards that we can gain a positive cash flow with just a little bit of tweaking of where she's putting her income. But first, let's talk about the credit cards. So we always use the chargeable expenses on a credit card to determine how much of our income we're actually going to be placing inside of that credit card every month. So with one credit card, she can do the $350 in gas, $120 car insurance, and $160 tolls. So that means card number one will get $630 a month applied to it. Then throughout the month, she's going to use these expenses on that card. Credit card number two, she can put the food, the hair, the daycare, totaling $1,540 a month will go into credit card number two. Then those expenses will come out throughout the month. Now, what does it do when we transfer expenses in two credit cards, just as I'm showing here? Well, first off, if you take the $15,000 balance of credit card number two and you put in that $1,540, it's going to bring the balance down to $13,460. That will cut off a little bit of the interest because it's going to lower the average daily balance that the banks actually figure the interest charge upon. With credit card number one at $11,871, the $630 will be transferred into this card, leaving her a balance of $11,241 that she is then going to charge the expenses off of throughout the month. But what does that mean for these credit card payments? Because she's got a $351 payment and a $229 payment. What happens when we do the income transfers into these cards? The credit card payments are satisfied. So that means that this $351 and this $229 is no longer required because it is satisfied when she does the income transfer into the cards. That literally gains her the cash flow of these two credit card payments. So now those payments have been turned into cash flow that is helping to work down the balances of the debt. Another really fantastic move that she can make is to get a line of credit to pay off her car. That will free up the $514 a month payment that she currently has. So if she can only get $15,000 as a line of credit at this time, she can transfer it into the car loan, paying this car loan off except for the $395. That satisfied this payment, of course, for 1 month, right? Then we can grab the $395 in the second month. The car will be paid off. She now has the title and she's just working down the balance in this line of credit. So when we get rid of the monthly car payment and the two credit card payments, that means that even though she had a negative $155 in cash flow, now she has $939 in cash flow because these payments here no longer apply. So after she has transferred $15,000 of the car loan into this new line of credit at 12% interest, which that's pretty high right now, but we're going to go with 12% just to add some interest into this line. Her income being $9,005 per month for the total household income will be going into this line now, meaning that in the first month, her balance will drop down to $59.95. How does this help? It reduces the average daily balance that the banks are going to look at when they charge the interest. So that's approximately what the interest will be. Now remember, the banks do an average daily balance. So every day that this balance changes, they're going to average it out through the whole month. then they're going to charge that 12% interest on whatever the average daily balance is. So I have figured it at $105 for the first month. Of course, her expenses here at $8,006 is now going to come out throughout the month. Remember what I said, her total expenses were $91.60, but we were able to remove the $514 car payment, the $351 credit card payment, and the $229 credit card payment. That means that brought her expenses down to the $8,006 per month. So bringing out the expenses and the interest, her balance is back up to $14,106. Month 2, her income goes in, bringing her balance down to $51,001. Her expenses and the interest again is figured here, bringing her balance to $13,204. But remember, we have to pay off the rest of that $395 on the car loan. Here it is. Month 2, she pays off the car completely. She now has the title in her hand, and she is just working down her line of credit by doing nothing but putting in her income and pulling out her expenses. So watch how this works. Month 3, her income goes in, bringing her balance down to $45.94. Then we're going to add $1,000 to credit card number 1 and $1,000 to credit card number 2, just to help with those balances coming down as well. We want to be paying off debt as much as possible. So when we add the $1,000 to each card, that's going to give cushion for more expenses if needed. That's also going to help cut out some of the interest because it's going to be reducing the balances of each card. Her total expenses would come back out again at $8,006. Then her interest will come out, bringing her balance to $14,691. Month 4, the income goes in, bringing her down to $56.86. Her expenses and her interest will come out again, bringing her to $13,794. In month 5, the income goes in again, bringing her to $4,789 for the balance. She's going to pay her expenses and the interest will come out again, bringing her back up to $12,888. So if you have a question in your mind of what is paying down this balance, you have to remember that her cash flow was at a negative $155. Her car payment at $514 has now been eliminated. Her credit card payments of $351 and $229 are now being satisfied with these income transfers that she's doing for expenses, bringing her $939 in additional cash flow. That's what's working this balance down every single month. So her expenses and her interest come out in month 5. In month 6, her income goes in, bringing her balance down to $3,883. Her expenses and interest come out again, bringing her balance back up to $11,973. About the expenses, we have to buy food, we have to buy gas, we have to pay for our car insurance, you pay for your internet, for your subscriptions. That's all that this expense is, including her mortgage payment she has in here as well. We didn't include the mortgage payoff in this rundown because we're showing how to pay off a car loan very, very quickly. She still had 3 years left on that car loan to pay it off at the $514 a month. We have eliminated that payment. Now we are doing nothing but income in, expenses out on this line of credit that is completely paying off that car. Plus, it's adding payments to the 2 credit cards. So in month 7, her income goes in again. Then we're going to do it again. $1,000 on credit card number 1, $1,000 on credit card number 2, bringing her balance to $49.68. Her expenses for the month will come out throughout the month. Her interest is going to come out, bringing her to a balance of $13,049. Month 8, the income goes in, bringing her down to $4,044. Her expenses and interest are going to come out again. Then in month 9, her income goes in, expenses and interest come out. She's at $11,214. Month 10, income in, expenses and interest out. Month 11, income in, expenses and interest out. Her balance at $93.42 by the end of month 11. Then in month 12, her income goes in, bringing her to a balance of $337 that will be completely paid off in less than 12 months. That will bring her to a complete payoff within 13 months on this car loan, plus adding $4,000 to these 2 credit cards. If you have a problem with your credit cards being maxed out, and you feel like you have no breathing room, please try this strategy. It may give you the little bit of breathing room that you need to work through your debt. You have to have a starting point. A lot of people that I work with are in the negative cash flows. You need a way out. And when you can take your credit cards and kind of flip things up around on them where you're using them for expenses, you're putting that money into them to use them throughout the month, it gives you the space that you need so that you can turn these credit card payments into cash flow to help you win when it comes to debt elimination. Remember, if you're using your credit cards in this way and you're at the max as this person is, it's very important that you make smaller payments throughout the month. Two things happen when you make the smaller payments throughout the month. One, you may be preventing the credit card company from cutting your limits because right now they are cutting limits if you make large chunks onto your credit cards. I've seen that. Not many of my clients have mentioned it, but I have seen that that's happening. So if you have a tiny idea that your credit card company may cut your credit limits if you throw in a $1,500 payment, then just divide that throughout the month, 100 here, 50 there, 25 here, 200 there. That way you may not trigger the banks to actually cut your limits. Sometimes that works. Another thing that making smaller payments throughout the month does is it can increase your credit score. So if you're making smaller payments throughout the month before the due date, then you wait 3 to 5 days after the statement date and do another small chunk, you may see your credit score increase quite a bit. I've seen it before. I know it can happen. And a lot of my clients are using the smaller payments throughout the month, and it is increasing their credit score. And they haven't had credit card limits cut. So just play a very safe strategy because we don't want to throw a bunch of money into a credit card and then they cut our limits, they stole the money, and now here we are trying to figure out how we're going to make it through the month. They play a very strategic game, and you need to play it right back because you are now in control of your debt. You're in control of where your income goes and how good you are with making sure your money is serving you now instead of serving the banks. I appreciate you guys for joining me. I'm getting your comments. I'm getting the emails. I'm so excited that everyone is finding relief that is doing the strategies of Velocity Banking. It is a joy to do. I have enjoyed doing Velocity Banking for years and years, and I know that you will too. You just have to change your mind to change your life. It can be a real game changer for you, and I hope it is. I only want you guys to find peace in your finances. If you need to contact me, I have services listed below. I also have services listed on my website at fantasticfinances.com. I have a Fetch link below. If you have not checked into Fetch, please go through that link, start your own Fetch account. All you do is scan your receipts. When you get them, they give you points for your receipts, which ends up being gift cards to wherever you would like them, whether that be Amazon or whatever. I've been using that for a while now, and I'm really enjoying the Fetch app because it's so easy just to scan your receipts. As soon as you get one, if you buy the products that they have listed on the app, you get extra points. So you could have money without doing anything but just scanning your receipts. I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart, and I pray for this YouTube channel every day that the Lord will bless it. It will bless you guys, and that you guys will find the financial peace that you absolutely deserve. Thank you so much again for joining me today. I hope you guys have a terrific week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.